question up top: are they robots or are they people? The Universal Soldiers.
They were people, and then they died, but then the government owned their bodies, and so they were reanimated, RoboCop style. But their like augments or whatever were like removable.
Oh, okay. So they were like they had clip-on accessories.
Yeah. These are all just dudes who were like genetically modified against their will.
Okay. You're a GMO man, average GMO male. Okay, got it. Because I was like the whole time I was watching, I was like, when am I going to see one without the robot skin? Show me the robot bones.
Oh no, it's just it's dude all the way down.
Nice.
That's my Saturday night. I'll tell you what.
Nice. Okay. Word.
Although Dolph Lundgren is a clone. That he's not the original. What's his name? Andrew Scott or whatever. Sounds like a skateboarder.
No. Pro skater Andrew Scott, no, for sure. Was Jean-Claude Van Damme's Luke Devereaux the original Luke Devereaux?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Great. Those are all my questions. I have no more questions.
Yeah, at any point during the course of this episode, just feel free to ask me any questions about the greater Unisoul lore.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Hello and welcome to Swim Fans Blood. Jesus. Hello and welcome to Swim Fans Full Clip. All right, this is your summer action movie block for the year. I am your co-host, frantically dialing 555 pipe. I'm Josh McKenzie.
God damn it! I'm constantly speed ramping. I'm Craig Neeson.
There is no end. Always another Jen Hawking.
This week on Full Clip, we are talking the 2012 John Hyams film Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning.
Just do it.
So this is the 6th Universal Soldier movie of 6.
Kind of. So 2 of the Universal Soldier movies, 3 and 4, were like direct to TV and are not canon because they don't have any of the original people in them. So this is technically the 4th in that kind of like Halloween way.
Oh, okay. Okay, can you give just a really basic 20-30 second rundown of what Universal Soldier is?
Yeah, so it's about 2 army soldiers. I'm just going to call them by the actors' names. Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. They're fighting in Vietnam, and Dolph Lundgren goes insane, and he's gonna start killing innocent people. And then in order to stop him, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren they just kill each other, and their bodies are cryogenically frozen until the early 90s. And then they're both against their will. They're genetically modified and released as this elite counterterrorism unit called Universal Soldier, the Unisoul program. And so it's basically at that point it's mostly RoboCop. It's like RoboCop, and it's also kind of Terminator as well. Because Jean-Claude Van Damme wakes up, and then he meets up with this reporter lady, and they go on the run together to find out the truth. And the whole time they're pursued by the Universal Soldier team. Eventually, they get away and they kill Dolph Lundgren. That's basically the plot of Universal Soldier. It's not super relevant to this movie for the most part. I mean, you kind of have to know what a Universal Soldier is, but other than that, there's very, very little kind of connective going on here.
Fantastic. Okay, so if you haven't seen this, the 6th in number, but the 4th in canon Universal Soldier film, the movie stars Scott Adkins as John. And this is sort of our protagonist of the movie. So right at the start of the movie, he is the victim of a home invasion. And we find out quite soon on that he sees Jean-Claude Van Damme's Luke Devereaux as the guy who invades his home, murders his wife and child. and grievously injures himself. So that's sort of the first part of the movie here. Many months later, he awakens from a coma, and the doctor says, wow, you can't believe you're up. Let's get the FBI in here immediately. So FBI agent Gorman, who's sort of his liaison with the government, comes in and is like, hey, you're probably all scrambled now, but like, you got to tell me what you know. And pretty quick, probably with some coaching by the FBI, he's able to say, oh, this guy, this former Unisol, Luke Devereaux, is the killer. He used to be one of ours, but he's gone rogue. So, that's who killed your family. Then there's sort of like a B plot here where Agent Gorman does like a sleeper cell activation to activate this plumber, this bearded plumber who immediately becomes a universal soldier. So he is like activated to kill both Van Damme and Lundgren's characters. And so he goes to find them, and he quickly kills a bunch of other guys, but Lundgren's character is able to display the ability to sort of wake up the Universal Soldiers, to break the government control, and instead sort of get them onto the side of Van Damme's character. So that's sort of happening in the background of the movie for the first part of it. But anyway, back to John. So he's got, he has like amnesia, but he does have a phone call from his friend Isaac. He goes to Isaac's place, who's involved with like the Unisol situation, and finds him like gruesomely murdered. A clue there leads him to a strip club where he meets a woman named Sarah, who seems to know him, but he has no memory of her. And as you'll remember, John it was married the last time he was conscious. So he's quite surprised by this. At that strip club in the bathroom, the bearded plumber guy injects John with the same sort of like serum to wake him up, like to break the government spell. But instead of sort of giving him over to Van Damme's side, he sort of retains his free will, kind of. So he's still on this mission to kill him for killing his family. And this is like the first of like 3 set pieces where John and the bearded guy fight in the bathroom. John follows Sarah back to her place where they're again attacked by the bearded guy. So there's like another extended set piece. John gets his fingers chopped off, but he also chops off, a bunch of the bearded guy's foot. And they're escaping, and Sarah's like, okay, when I knew you, you were a truck driver, and we went to like a cabin in the woods or whatever. So that's like how we met. So following the truck driver lead, he goes to where his truck is stored. He meets a guy that he like brutalized in order to use his shipping routes. And this guy has footage of him actually killing his friend Isaac. So it turns out that John is the one who did it. So he's quite disturbed by this. And finally, there's like this final like run in with the bearded guy. There's like an extended car sequence where they're like hitting each other with the cars, and it culminates in this like sporting goods store brawl where John finally kills the bearded guys. In like the next mini chunk here, John and Sarah do go to the cabin that she was referring to, and they find another John there. So there are 2 Johns, and the one that she knew is actually in the cabin, and this other one is not the one that she knew. But the one who isn't the one we've been following is the one who did the murders. So like basically, he sort of tells his story about how he had much the same journey where he was woken up, and then he served Van Damme's character for a while, but then he's like, actually, that sucks too. So now I'm just hiding here in this house. This other John is going to kill Sarah before our John intervenes and kills him with a shotgun. But realizing that he might be under mind control, he has Sarah take out like the brain control chip. So in like the final movement here, he is able to find passage to Van Damme's like compound underground where all the Universal Soldiers are that he's like sort of brainwashing to turn against the government. And they are going to cure him of the memory of his dead family. But as they're doing that, our John like freaks out and wastes everybody inside the compound. It's very much like a video game. He kills all the randoms, and then there's the sub boss fight where he fights Dolph Lundgren's character. in like an armory kind of room. You know, he eventually defeats him. And then finally he fights Van Damme's character. Van Damme, although like, you know, sort of holding his own, at some point realizes that even if he defeats this John, there will be other Johns, you know, sort of filling us in that this John is a clone, right? Like he's only a few weeks old. The memories he had are fake. This is all being revealed to us during this section. But even though the memories are fake, even though all of this, our John still found it, you know, worthwhile. So realizing that this was a futile effort, Van Damme allows John to kill him. In the last scene, Gorman's like, yeah, you were our finest experiment. We gave you like familial bonds as like a backstory in order to make sure that you could, you know, sort of retain the ability to, you know, kill this guy even through deprogramming. But John's like, you gave me pain. You killed my family because you gave me the memories in the first place. So he kills Gorman, but another Gorman clone appears to carry it out, sort of ending our story with John on like an uncertain note. What do we think about Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning?
I picked this, so I can go first. I like this movie quite a bit. I think it's a really kind of like gutsy approach to like a direct-to-video action movie. If you haven't seen it, it's very low budget, but it's like very openly pulling from like Refn, Gaspar Noé, David Lynch, Francis Ford Coppola, and like a bunch of other movies as well. And it's told in this really kind of like mostly opaque fashion where like you kind of it's like difficult to kind of get your foot in it. It's pretty much a standalone movie. It's just set in the Universal Soldier universe. Like the big names from the original are here, but like not much. And they're like mostly sidelined to focus on a cult action star, Scott Adkins, as he tries to do his best like Ryan Gosling and Drive impression. But like influences aside, and Lord knows this movie has a lot of those. I like how it bends the like mythos of the Universal Soldier movies, because like I do not like the original Universal Soldier. I think it's like a terrible movie that's too close to its own influences, and its own influences are not as wild as the influences on this one, I guess. But I like that it uses it to tell the story of like a guy who's just kind of being swallowed up in this like government machine that he doesn't really understand and has to kind of figure out. Like, I think the movie nails feeling extremely disoriented. Like, it feels really intentional to me. I like the mysteries. I think they have, like, an interesting payoff. Like there's the scene where, like, John sees footage of himself, and it's like, okay, well, did they wipe his memory? And it's like, no, there's just, like, another one of him out there somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It takes all of these things, like cloning and reprogramming, you know, this iconography from this series, and then kind of like goes its own direction with it in a way that isn't always successful. I agree, Craig. The speed ramping is rough in some of those fight scenes. But I like how kind of gutsy it is, and I like how just extremely violent and abrasive and unpleasant it is for the most part as well. I get why it's not for everyone, but like for like a small budget movie for this, like this, to not just go like Predator again or whatever. I don't know. That's interesting enough to me, I guess. I think this is admirable, and I think it's fun.
You may remember from our coverage of Top Gun Maverick, my thoughts on Top Gun Maverick were like, when there's action, it's fun, and I have a good time. And when there's not action, it's difficult to care. And I feel much the same way about Universal Soldier: Day of Reckoning. When there are like 4, maybe 4.5 like major action set pieces that I think are cool. Like I like the first 3 are with the bearded guy, so it's at some are with the bearded guy. Yeah. So the apartment, the car thing, and then the sporting goods store, which I think is my favorite. Mm-hmm. So I think and then of course you have the one with where he's taking out all of the Unisouls, and then you have the one with just Dolph Lundgren, and then just with Van Damme. And so I think when those are happening, I'm pretty locked in. I think the action choreography is kind of cool. I sort of like what they do, especially in the Van Damme fight, where they like sort of modulate the frame rate. Like it makes I think it's more effective when it's punching as opposed to knives, but there's like sort of like modulating the frame rate that makes the punches feel kind of snappy in a way that like I think works for the movie that's given. And so I thought that was sort of an interesting novelty. But like the sporting goods store is super ultra violent and sort of fun to watch. I like when they're like dueling with baseball bats, and he's like blocking the baseball bat swings. I thought that was pretty fun. But then when it's not that, it's pretty perfunctory to me. Like Sarah is like not a character. It's like. Women exist in this movie only to be like murdered, discarded, which is an action movie. Like whatever, it's not like this is the only movie that does this. But like, I didn't care about John or the world really. But when it was locked into what it really cared about, which is sort of like this almost like horror movie level of violence, like it really, to its credit, it kind of throws away like the glory of battle for like how gnarly can it possibly be to fight a guy. So like that sort of gives it an interesting tone, which I think benefits because like as far as action movies go, I think this one's pretty mean spirited, which is whatever. But usually I feel like action movies are maybe I think like Only God Forgives had a bit of like a mean streak to it as well. So like but like I feel like it's sort of less common, especially in the 2020s. It doesn't really seem like the action movie flavor of the moment. So there was like a real like bleakness to it, a real like anti-human quality to it. But when they're fighting, I like to see it. I thought the choreo was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think I fucking hate this movie. I really think it's like like a fundamentally like poisonous. There's this like very obvious riffing on Gaspar Noé with the strobe, as though Gaspar Noé invented strobes in cinema. But it's really emblematic of how this film's like swagger continues. It's pointless antagonism towards the audience, and it's pointless bloodshed. The plot is nonsensical. Again, like has been said, every time someone opens their mouths, nothing happens. Like it's flat. They might as well not be speaking to each other. That's one thing to Refn's credit. His characters rarely ever fucking talk. And when they do talk, they say insane shit. And then to speak of the Refn influence, like, it's like, okay, Refn invented purple and blue gels on either side of the frame. It's like, no, Refn didn't invent bisexual lighting, but it's cute that you're trying. And then like the general kind of like the weird dreamy mezzanine scene that like David Lynch can conjure is here, but it's here like accidentally. It's here because the audio is mixed weird. It's here because every set feels like a set. All the like bad paintings when he meets his clone. This film is just like empty. I do love fight sequences. I love brutality. I even like when people get their toes cut off and shit. This movie is not necessarily rubbing up against my precious values or something, but like Josh articulated, this movie is like fundamentally like anti-human. It's just it's like an empty artwork. It's just like insane, plot making. It reminds me, a little anecdote. I was in an Uber once, and I was talking about the university that I was going to, and I talked about how, a lot of the PhD students make weapons, right? They, work for comms, developing for like Motorola, and it's all in service of like, American empire. And like, he joked like, I bet they're making like AI robots in the basement. I'm like, yeah, probably. But then he looks at me fucking like dead serious. He's like, I think they're making AI robots in the basement. and that's like the level that this is on. Like, to me, this movie has this like Max Payne, early 2000s video game thing, and for players of Condemned Criminal Origins on the Xbox 360, they were like, how could we reinvent the first-person shooter? And it's like, what if they hit each other with pipes? What if you grabbed a piece of rebar and you hit an enemy with it? Like this like formulation of a film that's just wreathed in these like boneheaded cliches of like, oh, my family was slaughtered, but oh, it's a false memory. I have to get vengeance. Oh, it's a government conspiracy. Oh, I've been cloned. MK Ultra, I've been activated. Like it has this like dumb guy swagger while also being just like fundamentally kind of evil and empty. Just the scene where the plumber gets his Sirhan fucking calling card activated, and he just starts mowing down sex workers. Like it's so vulgar, it's so like unpleasant, it's so abrasive. There's like almost nothing like redemptive to me about like the way that the violence is stylized, because it's either like ineffective again with I think things that strike me as gimmicks, again like the speed ramping, or just like general kind of incompetence with like framing. Like, we're gonna see everything, but actually, psych, we're gonna like keep the frame high so we don't get to see main guy bashing someone's brains with a hammer. It's not well executed. It's just weird. It has this like if it's bona fides is just like it's weird. I'm struggling to find like anything other than like a baseline of like misery. It's a guy who smokes inside. It's just it's like it's hateful and it's cruel and it's conspiratorial, but it's not even pointing at things. I mean, again, the plot is nonsensical, and again, like Josh articulated, I'm not expecting an action movie to have like progressive politics or like treat women like people, because that's historically not action films' bag. But like I think I draw some kind of line where it's like, these women are just being like slaughtered in a hallway, or like main girl who has a French accent is just kind of like flailing around and has her tits out. It's like what is, I don't know what I'm supposed to be like getting out of the film. I get that there's like pleasure here for like a certain audience, but I'm just like fundamentally not it.
I do think that like, because like ostensibly there's like a male like power fantasy thing happening here. Like that's like probably some of the reason for what's happening. But I would say that in terms of male power fantasies that we've talked about in this show, of which there are so many that we've discussed, this is one of the sadder ones. So I think I see where you're coming from. Craig, what did you think about like the I guess like the extended action scenes? Because I did whether or not the speed ramping is effective, I did sort of like the choreo and the editing. I just like, part of what like sinks the film is like the gloss of the camera. It has this very like high def. We're seeing everything, but everything is like anemic. Places don't feel lived in. They don't feel real. Again, which I think is like part of this this David Lynch-esque quality that people are talking about. But like, action that I can point to that I like feels grounded. Like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, or even the kind of like,
the I don't know, like a car chase, where there's like other vehicles, there's screeching, there's a world. I mean, it's like, to me it feels like an extended video game cutscene, and like there's a kind of like dulling of to me it's just like speed ramping is just like emblematic of the fact that I don't feel connection, and like I think it's like a multi-factor thing. It's like I don't feel connection because like the technique of speed ramping is like a little corny. I don't feel connection with the action because it doesn't feel motivated. I fundamentally don't understand. Like, even though this movie shows us the fucking execution sequence like 5 times, I don't like his motivation feels like completely arbitrary. It's like, the thing that like Guillermo del Toro talks about as being a failure in the first Hellboy is that every single set piece, every single fight set piece is Samael, the little tentacled little demon guy, fighting Hellboy. Samael versus Hellboy. Samael versus Hellboy. Same fucking sequence, and it just happens in different locations. And he remedies that in Hellboy too. Every fight sequence is its own kind of distinct swagger. I mean, to me, it's the same situation happening over and over again. That like, I don't like. I don't have connection to the impetus for one to swing a bat at another person, right? Like, I know why Terminator would do that to Liquid Terminator, because he's programmed to do it and he wants to save his little boy John Connor. Like, I understand like motivation, but like here it's just like the kind of nonsense of the story doesn't allow me to like engage with like why one is swinging a bat, because I think that's like important or something. But there is something to be said for like random arbitrary violence, but it's just like it's happening so like predictably that like it feels empty, if that makes sense.
No, totally, sure.
I can see that. I think that this is going a bit back in what you were saying of like the sets and stuff, like the house set, like sets in quotes. It looks like they just rented like a Bluth model home or something.
No, absolutely.
It kind of, to me, works because he's like fundamentally living in like a construction, and like he sort of was born like 5 minutes before the fucking movie started or whatever. And so, like, the only room that is decorated in any meaningful way is his daughter's room. And, like, that's the one where he's supposed to, like, get the most motivation for his actions or whatever, according to Government Guy. So, like, that kind of works for me, even though it does look extremely cheap. But I like the action in this. I think that it is maybe the most unique thing about it compared to all the movies that it's like pulling from, is like it does these extended like martial arts scenes and stuff, but like it's all punctuated by like heads exploding and then like grim aesthetics basically. And the amount of like bloodletting and stuff, I know I understand that it's not for everyone, and I'm definitely the most forgiving of exploitation movies of the three of us, but like I think that it's like a pretty kind of unique aesthetic for a movie like this to have. Does that make sense?
Oh, completely.
Yeah,
I don't think that I've ever seen violence stylized quite like this. There's no doubt. Like, I don't have an extensive vocabulary, but like, I don't think I've ever seen it rendered in this way.
Yeah, it's like every scene where a character dies is Christina Hendricks getting her head blown up by that shotgun in Drive, and like there's part of me that can't deny that rocks. I think it kind of rules how like completely hateful and misanthropic this movie is. I don't share its worldview by any means, but like I guess in terms of committing to the bit, I'm at least willing to go get on board for the runtime.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's something unique about the action. I don't know what, it's hard to put my finger on. I think it's something to do with, like, especially the later action is, like, done in, especially the scene where he's, like, taking care of all of the other Unisouls. It's like the takes are quite long, but they're not. I think I said this already. I like the action. Whatever they're doing stylistically, like, works for me. It is quite hateful, but I think it's cool. It's just the way that it's rendered. Like the sporting good, like for me,
it's so
the
awesome.
most. Yeah, and I think because it's so brutal and because it delights so much in this sort of like bleak misanthropic way that, like, for the most part they surprised me. Like I didn't expect anybody's like foot to get like rendered in half. I thought the most successful one, like I said earlier, was the sporting goods store. I thought that set piece was kind of fun because I don't know. I guess I just don't often see two Terminators duel with baseball bats, and so I found the novelty there. But I sort of liked that it went from a fist fight to like a weapons based fight where they're like, you know, sword fighting with the baseball bats. So yeah, I do think there's something, it's difficult to put my finger on, but I do think that there's something unique to the violence here that it definitely didn't feel like bog standard.
And I won't die on the hill of the story in here, but I will say that I think it is more interesting than like being incoherent. Because I think there is actually a pretty clear story here. I think it's intentionally told in like a disorienting way, but I don't know. I like the like Metal Gear Solid 5 style. Like we're all training in the compound, like, and he has to infiltrate Mother Base and like get revenge on the guy who he thinks killed his family but probably didn't, and he's just sort of unwilling to like, or unable to get past that. I don't know. There's something about it playing with the tools of Universal Soldier to be like, do we have free will, man? That is like not necessarily groundbreaking, but I think is somewhat successful here.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's something to be said. Like Craig said this, and it seems like you kind of just said it too, that like there is like a real video game quality to this movie. And I mean, this movie makes, I would say, impressive use of POV shots. Like for a while I was like, oh, this is a hardcore Henry style movie. Jennifer got us to watch a hardcore Henry style film. So it was a lot more POV shots than I expected. Maybe that's what is interesting. A lot of the fights felt like QTEs, in a way that, like, I guess I didn't hate necessarily, but like maybe mostly because I don't see it so often. But like a lot of those like fatalities that he's doing, especially in the back half of the movie, are like you hit the X button at the right time.
Yeah.
Which did sort of, I guess, activate my lizard brain a little bit. I felt I was hitting the X button at the right time. But that, yeah, maybe that's part of what makes it so strange.
Yeah, and I think either delighting in that or being like completely turned off by it. Like I literally was thinking, and I don't think about this, about like when I owned an Xbox 360. Like that's what this movie reminded me of. That's like what it conjured for me, and and that's not
Absolutely.
like a good thing.
We'll disagree on that, but I think that it rocks that Scott Adkins looks like the default, like, create a character, like Mass Effect face, you know? Like, he looks like the box art where it's like, we need to put the most generic interpretation of this character on the box. That's what Scott Adkins looks like.
Yeah, he's like if Jack from Lost, but you're looking at him with like some kind of face blindness. Like it's just, and he's so he is so protagonist, and that thing, like in the beginning when he's getting his ass kicked, There's that moment where he looks down into broken glass and you see the character, or when he's like before he gets his before he gets his ass kicked. There's that moment where he is at the bathroom sink and he looks up and he sees himself. That's the most like introduction to like Fallout 3 shit like that I've ever that's. But it rubs against, and I guess this me problem where it's like these things where the character's seeing himself, which like I guess in some way helps establish a character in like video game. Like I'm seeing video game language like all over this fucking movie. And that's I think one of the things that's like repellent is that like I don't think like video game like blocking or like the cutscenes have ever really been particularly like good. It's rudimentary, it's stilted, it's there's like texture popping and shit. Like that's the reason why I think a lot of it just it either bounces off of me or it hits this register of like, God, wasn't that awful? What wasn't that? Isn't that an awful way to like it feels like bad character rigging to me. That's where it lands. And I again fundamentally me issue, but that's what it feels like.
The shot where right at the beginning when he is bleeding and looking down into broken glass, that's a Metal Gear Solid 5
absolutely
shot. Yeah, that really like unlocks I think what makes the movie both I think novel for me, but also sort of distancing, which is ironically the opposite of what they were going for with all the POV shots. But like, I think that is what sort of does that, is that it is, you can see the DNA of like video game filmmaking aesthetics, due to the limitations of the medium being replicated in a different medium.
Also, Enter the Void.
Yeah.
Also, he just watched Enter the Void, and it gave him some good ideas for his next Universal Soldier straight-to-video movie.
Craig, people were saying that... Did you say that people were saying this was like David Lynch?
Yes, yeah. I saw frequent references to Lynch in the Letterboxd reviews, yeah.
How?
Yeah. I mean, but like Jennifer just said, like...
I see it.
It's this kind of like... It's cribbing... in this way that's so like so juvenile or something, to me the Lynch exists in the mise-en-scene just like generally of the offness. Like to me that's like it feels deliberate. I don't know that it's particularly successful, but it's just like the offness of character in environment plus lighting plus whatever. It's weird and destabilizing. That's where I see David.
There's two scenes in particular that I'm like, oh, you're really going for David Lynch here. And it's when the plumber is activated and there's like just like an old lady drinking coffee talking to him while it's happening. There's something about like the disconnect between those two that feels very kind of David Lynch to me. And then there's the scene where he's interrogating his like shipping contact or whatever, and he's like I don't know, he looks like a Dick Tracy villain or something, and he's all like his face is all like fucked up, and he's got like I think he's got like gloves on. Then he points to a video behind him where Scott Adkins sees a double of himself. Like that feels very much like I don't know, when they dressed up Michael Anderson, the little person, to be like a full like a non-little person in, was that Mulholland Drive?
Oh yeah. We see him behind glass. That kind of like where he's only answering in single words.
Yeah. That feels very reminiscent of David Lynch to me.
Yeah.
I
so
think
that in the kind of, I mean, like Craig, you were saying like the sort of dreamlike quality to the movie, but those scenes in particular, I'm like, you were going straight to Lynch on those.
I mean, in retrospect, I guess the one that feels to me the most Lynch, I see what you're saying. The ones that feel to me the most Lynchian are when he has I guess just left other John, and he walks and John's like, oh yeah, if you go to this place at this time, they'll find you. And he just like walks down to like a river, and some guy in like a boat like psychically senses him, and like it's that level of like it's like going to meet the cowboy in Mulholland Drive.
Right.
Like if you go to a place, something happens, sort of like an NPC encounter, I guess. But it is sort of uncanny that along this whole river they knew exactly where and when he was. So I mean maybe that scene sort of does it for me. I guess I see what you're saying, but for me, like the Gaspar Noé and Refn comparisons like hit me over the head with a hammer.
Right.
And the Lynch ones I think are more of a stretch for me.
I think it's there. You could argue it's superficial, but
Yeah.
I think it adds up to at least something unique.
And I mean the Refn-ness like of the character. I mean his general kind of attitude, like path, like forward. Much like a Refn character has just kind of like a straight path that they absolutely cannot deviate from, regardless of like the fate that will befall them, is the gels. But like the gels are so like anemic, like they give a little bit of like a little bit of like accent to like a cheekbone, but you know like. There's something about like Only God Forgives where you know everyone's like drowning in that shit. Where you know colors have been mixed in such a like profoundly like strange way that it becomes alien. But it's like blue gel to the left, purple gel to the right, and like but they're not intense enough to like really reach the character or color the character. So yeah, it becomes like a ContraPoints video. It's bisexual lighting, and it feels like really like not it feels like chintzy, I guess is
yeah.
like
I was gonna say ContraPoints has pretty good set design.
yeah that was a little disrespectful. There's a lot of like intense gels on her face, but yeah, it's just like it's a chintzified version like of what you would go to Refn for or see in a Refn, in a Neon Demon. Which I mean I don't want to compare this movie to fucking Neon Demon.
No,
but
no.
like but it's like it's clearly like it saw Drive, it knows, and it's trying to gel in the way that like he gels, and it's just not fucking getting there. Like it's not like even close.
No, to like compare like this to like Drive or Only God Forgives or like even Neon Demon is kind of like, to me, comparing Jet Li in The One versus The Matrix. Of where it's like a similar idea that's like nakedly stealing from the other movie to make just kind of a ridiculous and I think fun action movie. I don't believe it elevates it just from doing that, but I do think it at least is aesthetically interesting to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about collecting these influences and then like, kind of Xerox copying them and then redoing them or like kind of plugging them into your film that feels very I don't know.
Because it's so naked in its doing of that.
Right. It's like the endearing quality that like I think like student films when we were in undergrad, when I was in like intro to video, where it's like it was naked and obvious when you saw someone crib. They had like a particular director that they were cribbing from, and it was mostly like fucking like Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, like I get that. It's just like one is weaving into the fabric what they feel like is like, I don't know, like high, but it's not working. But they're trying to like weave it in anyway, so that there's like an attempt made, I think to like make your movie.
I did think they were gonna like try for more ambition with the lighting, because when they're at the massage parlor after the plumber's been activated, there are like these quite tactile set pieces that they even shatter like in the room, that are like just these bars of like sort of neon light. That was sort of interesting.
Maybe my biggest complaint of this movie is that those are clearly LED tubes, and they're supposed to be shattering like neon, but they're not neon. They're plastic, so they're not really doing it right. But they still put in the like glass shattering sound effect anyway.
Yeah, I guess like even if it might have been more referential, I do think like having a bit more fun with the lighting would have been a bit more visually interesting, because I think that's another thing that gives it the sort of video game quality, is everything is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for, mediumly lit. Like it's just kind of it's kind of whatever. But and to sort of make that point, like the scenes where there is more of like a lighting scenario, like the battle with Van Damme where he's in like his like face paint, and they're in like the cult chamber or whatever they're fucking doing down here. I think that scene is more visually interesting than some of the others, because like as much as I think the sporting goods one is interesting choreographically, like visually I don't think it's particularly dazzling. So like, yeah, I mean maybe they should have kept cribbing the lighting. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I do like the final fight with Van Damme though. I don't know what he's doing with his makeup there, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, he's mid drag and then he gets attacked by this British bastard.
Yeah, I mean that is pretty weird, and like, you know, I saw people comparing it to Apocalypse Now, and I'm just like, please stop comparing this movie to things. But you know, like
it's openly stealing from Apocalypse Now.
I know, but I hate it. I hate that idea that it's aggregating like things, and then people find like a kind of delight in like the pastiche. Which
like Mega Man powers, it's collecting other movies.
Right, exactly. And now that you've killed Airman, you can kill Fireman better or whatever. There's this but there is a really bizarre quality to the Van Damme fight, because like Josh said, like it's actually lit really weird. Like it's like maybe the only instance of the character like in some kind of like semi-darkness, and it's also really off-putting to see Jean-Claude Van Damme at the age that he is. It's off-putting to see him without hair, and it's off-putting to see him like villainous for like almost like no discernible reason. I don't quite know his motivation for being what he is, but again, it has that like weird quality of like why all these recombinant things. But I guess that does lend a kind of like a little pizzazz to the fight, where I feel like the Dolph Lundgren fight feels very very stock or something. There's like there's like machetes on the wall, and they're in an armory, and like it feels like it's somewhat predictable, and then like Van Damme just like acquiesces to like dying. I don't know. There is something weird. The Lundgren one is definitely the most video gamey of the lot. You can really feel the QTEs popping in that one. Oh, completely. Yeah, you catch the blade before it hits you or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, which as a gimmick, I had a lot of fun with. It felt like a Resident Evil 4 DLC. It was awesome.
There's something to the way Dolph Lundgren does fight scenes that is so kind of more exaggerated than anyone else. Like he can't help himself but act like he's in the 1980s anyway. He it's like sort of like over emotes with his arms and stuff, and he's actually somewhat chatty compared to the rest of them. There's a weird tonal shift when they let him make creative decisions.
Yeah, I agree. It does have he is a lot chattier. I didn't notice that before, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Also,
he's got one-liners.
Yeah. Also, Craig, Fireman is in Mega Man 1. Airman is in Mega Man 2. Heat Man is in Mega Man 2, but he's weak to bubble lead.
Well, I never did know how to play those fucking games.
Those games rock.
I know that Iceman is first when you play Mega Man 1, and that's kind of it. Like it might as well be a fucking roulette wheel after that. So
Do we have any final thoughts about Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning?
I don't know. If our conversation interests you, I'd suggest checking it out.
I do like that there is like a little bit of like high strangeness at the edges. Like they all are compelled to like, maybe I haven't seen enough of the movies, but they're all compelled to like paint this symbol on a wall. And it's like it's iconography they absolutely do not revisit ever. You really don't know what Van Damme's doing. Like, you know that he wants to like get them to do revenge against the government. But like there's like again, like I said, there's like a cult style situation happening which I didn't really see coming.
But it's like Diamond Dogs.
Yeah,
he's doing the dream of the boss.
Yeah, and I like that they don't like, he doesn't have like a villain monologue speech where he's like, well, if I can, become their god, then I can, it's just like, yeah, I was just going to start a cult with all these superhumans. Don't worry. Like, I don't want to talk about it. There's no room in this movie for that.
So
I kind of respect that.
Yeah, that's like a thing that I like about it being placed in the series is that if you understand, Luke Devereaux is like someone who's fundamentally trying to get his like free will back that he was like robbed of, then it kind of like makes sense to sort of expand him out to the point where he's like liberating other Unisouls and building a resistance to the program that he hates so much. But like there's no you don't see it happen. It just at some point after the events of the last one, it happened. And I like how the movie just kind of like drops you into like POV of like this government pawn who doesn't fully kind of understand his situation in like the greater kind of like Unisoul versus like renegade like war that's going on. I don't know. I like that a lot. Like I think that's pretty cool. And then I like that he's at the end of it he's not like cured at all of the pain either. Sure. Even after he like kills Jean-Claude Van Damme and like implied to like take over the organization too. Like the last shot is just him indulging in a POV memory of his family that's not real. And he's like completely lost. He's still I see it as like he's in charge, but he's still like completely lost in this system that he's sort of like unwillingly thrust into.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, I think that. I mean, I don't know how else to. I don't know how else you could have ended it without it sort of sucking. Like you can't have him like. I think him. I mean, you can't have him erase his family.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The truth can't set him free.
Right, and then you can't have like a scene where he's like in like a dream sequence where he's like in like fake heaven or whatever, where he like sees the family that never existed. Like you can't have that. So all you can really do is have him be like, well, I guess I'm still alive. My family is fake, but I'm choosing to retain those memories for whatever.
He loves them anyway.
Yeah, I mean, so there is sort of like an existential bleakness to that is at least interesting.
Yeah. I like it.
I gave this 3 stars. I think when they're fighting, it's cool.
I gave this half a star. I think when the film's happening, I'm dying.
I gave this 4 stars, by the way. I reached out to Craig to apologize because I would not intentionally pick a movie to be grating to him. I didn't know he'd hate it that much. There's occasionally I pick movies like Death Game or fucking Mermaid in a Manhole where I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna play, but like I think there might be an interesting enough discussion in it. This is one of those. 4 stars, baby. Check it out. Oh, it was shot in 3D. But against the will of the director, he didn't want to make it 3D, but the only way he could get funding for it was if they could market it as 3D. And then it went like direct to video anyway, where no one fucking uses 3D glasses. It's very strange. Also, this movie looks weirdly Russian, even though I'm pretty sure it was like shot in like Louisiana. There's just its shots of streets just scream like Eastern Bloc to me. It could just be the color palette.
That's really true.
Honestly, you're kind of right. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It does not feel like America, like at all.
I think it is. That's like the fucked up part.
No, it definitely seems like they made this in like Belarus for sure.
Like somewhere where it's like where like film crews are cheap, you know, and you can shoot in a forest somewhere.
Yeah, you don't need a permit. You can just fucking, you know. If a civilian's a casualty, that's actually like a tax write-off.
Craig, it's the film crew from Bring Her Back, like making this fucking movie. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening.
It's not a question, but we got a comment from Naji Kirima. My favorite Swim Fans opening bit will always be the indescribably horny Meghan Trainor press release.
So fucking funny, dude. God. Jennifer, what episode is that? I want to go listen to it.
I can probably find it.
It's
but
just
I do not know.
Objectifying the idea of being her husband and like and having to live with that fucking press release. I just can't. I can't fucking imagine it.
What if they got divorced? And but like that would. That's all people know him from as an adult because he was the kid from Spy Kids.
Yeah.
Just introducing that as evidence at your divorce trial.
Oh my God.
Was it Adventures of Babysitting? Was it? Sorry, continue.
No. That's definitely grounds for divorce. Just the fact that was ever made should get an annulment instantly.
Episode 90, Adventures in Babysitting.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Go listen to it if you want to hear a real one. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Listeners, what's your favorite Swim Fans cold open? I've reported on some of your favorites that I know of, but if you have a favorite, let us know. The ones that come to mind, I think the Element of Crime one is really good. That's when we get way too serious about the Looney Tunes.
The Yo-Yo Girl Cop one, where I had just mailed Craig a copy of Cats, is pretty good when Carlos was there.
Carlos's line there is so fucking like you know, if you were to build like some kind of shrine to this show, like the soldiers inside the Trojan horse were bonus content is like the sharpest fucking like funniest shit I think I've ever heard anyone say. Like it's insane. Like that is just such a perfect thought.
What was Craig, was this you? What was the one where there was like it was a skit or a guided meditation or something of me like at an AutoZone? Oh, like that one's pretty good.
That is Sonatine.
Yeah,
I think it's the opening to Sonatine.
I spent the day in a park writing this idea of me being an insane person that haunts an AutoZone. Yeah, that was like kind of free association.
If you have a favorite Swim Fans cold open, please let us know. I think there's a lot of good ones.
Not to like give myself too many compliments, but I did write one for the opening of the Urban Legend episode that I was pretty happy with. I haven't listened to it in a while, so God knows. Maybe it doesn't hold up, but.
Well, to anyone who's gone to a rainbow party, it's a must listen.
I wrote a really long one for enough,
right?
Yeah, and we had to cut it because it got too sexually explicit. But
oh yeah, fuck, that was good. That was great.
Put it on Patreon. Who cares?
Also, maybe was telling on myself a lot in that one. In like way more ways than you would imagine.
Foreshadowing.
Anyway, my name's Jennifer now.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what your favorite is. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. So that is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Wherever you listen and enjoy, please rate. Okay, please review. Please, leave a comment. Ask us a question. Engage with us. We are human beings to be engaged with. So, if you have the interest, you should do so. You can also find the show on Patreon. Thank you to all of our patrons, but you can also become a patron if you're not already. That's patreon.com/swimfans. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to all of the back content, including all of Jennifer's stuff that's too spicy for TV. You can find it there.
I was sad to have to have cut that one.
I was a lot more conservative with the cuts back then. It might be fine now. So thank you to all of our patrons. If you're interested in becoming a patron, there's all sorts of good stuff you get access to. And you can find the show on all the social medias, Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd. That's user SwimFansPod, swimfanspod.com on Blue Sky. Give us a follow over there. And I am at all those same spots. User Amons, AMONNS. I saw Bring Her Back. I paid extra money to see it because it's out of most theaters in LA already. It slapped, man. Like I thought Talk to Me was like half of a really good movie and half of like a mediocre one. But like Bring Her Back was like all killer in my opinion. Like I think Craig said this in his Letterboxd review, but it's not like reinventing any wheels, but all the wheels they're spinning. Yeah. All the wheels are moving. Yep. It is incredibly gnarly in terms of gore. The story works. There's a real. What I was most impressed by was there was like a real efficiency to it. It like gives you the characters and it gives you their relationship, and like by like I would say minute like 5 or 10, you already like them. Like I really enjoyed the two main leads and their relationship. For all like the flaws and whatever. And I think that really powers like the bulk of the movie is how quickly you're like invested in the leads. And it really lets you enjoy sort of all of the other high strangeness that goes on around it. So I'll be seeing the next Philippou joint because this one went pretty hard. Jennifer. You
can follow me on Blue Sky, diatron5.swimfanspod.com. I'm on Letterboxd Diatron. What did I watch? This is like our second of 3 recordings this week, so I did not watch much since the last one.
You got locked the fuck in.
I watched the movie Best in Show, the Christopher Guest film, the mockumentary about dog shows.
I liked that movie.
Yeah, it's cute. And Fred Willard absolutely fucking just shreds in that movie. He's so fucking funny in it. A lot of it's kind of like chuckles, and then every time that Fred Willard is on screen, it's like actually like I was dying laughing. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Craig.
Catherine O'Hara's killing it in that one too. Sorry.
No worries. You can find me at Craig Neeson on Instagram and Letterboxd, CraigNeeson.com. I don't know. I haven't seen anything in the interviewing period. I think I watched once this was over. I needed a palate cleanser, and I watched the Jorando scene from Mulholland Drive. And I was
Hell
like,
yeah!
I was like, yeah, Rebecca Del Rio. I was like, hell yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a good movie. I don't know if folks have heard about Mulholland Drive. You should check it out.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Parker Posey's hot as hell in Best in Show. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, she always slays. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.